Kidman. We love Nicole Kidman. Hey y'all, welcome to another installment of Watch a Criterion collection with me. Today we're watching the Nicole Kidman collection and I am so hyped. This is, let me think, I've done the Paul Thomas Anderson collection, I've done the Hitchcock collection, and I won't lie, I'm most excited for this Nicole Kidman collection. I love the girl to death, okay? She is one of the movie actresses of all time, okay? She'll do anything she needs to for a movie, and I respect that so highly. I'm also gonna do a little research on her as an actress, as a person, and just like give you little Nicole Kidman facts that maybe you did or didn't know along the video. Let's take a look at the movies that are on this collection that I will be watching in this video. We have Dead Calm from 1989. I have not seen that. We have To Die For from 1995. I watched this at like 3 a.m. really drunk one night, and I need to rewatch it because it's really good and I barely remember it. Next we have The Portrait of a Lady from 1996. I don't think I've seen, no, I definitely haven't seen this one. Eyes Wide Shut from 1999. I did watch this one time back in the day. We have The Hours from 2002. Same deal, I've seen it one time back in the day. Birth from 2004, which I'm really excited to see that. I think the concept of that movie sounds really good and I've never seen it. Then we have The Stepford Wives from 2004. I believe I have seen this one. Very excited to rewatch it. Margot at the Wedding from 2007. Never even heard of this one. And then to end it, we have Paperboy from 2012 with Zac Efron. I love Paperboy. Okay, that movie is so good and I've been thinking about it like crazy. When I initially watched it, I think I gave it like a 2-star rating because it just, there were a lot of bits about it that really annoyed me, but it stuck with me. Like I still think about it and tell my friends about it all the time. So I'm really excited for that rewatch of Paperboy. Like half these movies I've never seen, half of them I saw one time years and years ago. So this will be a really fun video for me and I'm excited to take you along. The first movie on this list is Dead Calm from 1989. So I'm gonna go press play on that and then come back to you to talk about Dead Calm, the first Nicole Kidman movie in the Nicole Kidman Criterion collection. Let's go. Can you shout it just one more time? Okay, I'm just doing a little, if you can hear that, my boyfriend's watching Godzilla in the next room. I just did a little, like I was just looking at the movies that are on this list because I'm adding them to a letterbox list. Portrait of a Lady is directed by Jane Campion. I'm sick. I didn't know that. I love Jane Campion. I love her movies so much. I didn't even know about this one somehow. I've never seen it. It wasn't on my radar and I'm so much more excited to watch it now. Like I'm so glad I picked this collection. She's so old school Australian, red kinky hair, Nicole Kidman. I love it. I haven't seen a movie like this of hers in years. They're so calm. Oh my god. It's a novel? Oh my god. Okay, I knew I had to start recording because that ending, like, we thought it was over, but then there was, oh my god, the music was too intense, like way too telling. I didn't trust it. I did not trust that the movie was actually over, and I was like, let me record this. I feel like something crazy is gonna happen, and I was totally right. Okay, so the synopsis of this movie, no spoilers right now, okay, maybe I'll spoil it in a minute, but okay, so we have a married couple. We have Ray Ingram and John Ingram, okay? Nicole Kidman plays Ray, and then we have Sam Neill playing John. And he gets back from like military service, he gets back from something, and she's like not there to pick him up. Turns out she has been in a car accident. He goes to the hospital, and we see the flashback of the car accident. It had been raining really bad. They had a son who got out of his car seat in the back seat, and she's like, get in your seat, get back in your seat. She swerves, a car crashes into them, and we literally see the boy go through the windshield. So he's gone. Okay, terrible, like tragic, really sad. So they're trying to move on, they're trying to like get past this grief and everything, and they decide to take their boat out onto the ocean. I think they said it was the Pacific Ocean, so it might be like California over there. So they're just like there to like spend a week on the water and just like kind of get away from their day-to-day life and like not try to move on from their son died, but just try to like deal with that grief together and alone. Okay, they're on the boat, and then they see a man come up on a paddle boat, like he's paddling, or a rowboat, excuse me, he's rowing to them, and he's like, my boat is sinking, like 10 people were on the boat, they're all dead. He like throws their passports out to show that there were like 10 people on this boat, and he's like, the boat is sinking, there's like water in the engine, it's just like bad news bears, and like thank god you guys were here, I saw your boat, so like I came running, you know. He's very like suspicious, like the man definitely doesn't trust him, and Nicole Kidman's character, she's just like very wary, but she also sees like, oh, like this is a man who's in trouble, like he's distressed and everything. They let him like sleep in the cabin below, and then they lock the doors, so they lock him in, because the man, John, he's like, I'm gonna go check out this boat, I'm gonna go see like what he's talking about. So he gets in the rowboat, he goes to the boat, and he tells Nicole Kidman, he tells her, you know, like, don't let him out, take the gun, like load the gun up, but she doesn't do that. The man, his name is Huey, he's played by Billy Zane. He wakes up, he like gets out of the room that he's locked in, and he basically just kind of like takes over the boat. And then Sam Neill's character tries to get back to the boat, like he sees that he's done like looking around, he gets back in the rowboat and tries to go, but Billy Zane has taken over the boat, and he's like going really fast away from him. So now he has like sequestered this boat, he's like taken it over, he's there alone with Nicole Kidman. And then Sam Neill's character, the husband, he goes back to the boat to try to like figure out more of like the mystery of what happened on the boat, and also like trying to get it up and running so that he can chase after them and like take back his boat and take back his wife, right? Nicole Kidman is just a masterclass in survival, okay? Like her character is so good. She does what she needs to do to survive, which is not always the most conventional thing. I get it, I respect it, okay? I respect the game that she had to pull there to gain this man's trust so that he would like let her have access to things on the boat. She finds out that she can communicate with her husband through a radio, but like he's not coming through the radio, so they kind of like communicate via Morse code. It was really high stakes, like really intense. I was totally like, she tries to drug him, they fight a lot, like it's just like a lot of survival on her end, and that was like kind of the main point of the movie, is that like she's surviving and everything despite everything that she's going through. To me, it wasn't clear what happened on the other man's boat. Like I don't know why it started sinking. It was clear that the reason for people being on the boat was he was going to like photograph them. He like, you know, he's like, models wanted, please be beautiful and open-minded. And then he finds this videotape of like these girls like topless on the boat, like, why are you filming us, ha ha ha, and all this stuff. And then I guess he just kind of starts to go stir crazy. Like that's the only thing that I can gather from why everything went crazy. That's what I assumed from the videos. Like I didn't pick up on anything more than that. It was really good. Like I have nothing to complain about. It wasn't like the best movie I've ever seen, but it was definitely intense. Okay, I was feeling it. And then that end scene, crazy, crazy, crazy. If you don't want to know how this movie ends, go to the next movie, because I'm just going to spoil it right here for you because it was crazy and I have to talk about it. So literally they're fighting, okay? Husband is trying to get back on the boat. He's like following really fast. He ends up like catching the boat that he was on fire so that Nicole Kidman can see it and she can turn her boat around to go find him and everything, because they get lost at sea. She has the bad guy who's taken over the boat, Huey, she has him like hog tied down below. She's like nailed the door shut, the window shut, so he can't get out. He wakes wakes up and he starts like sawing his hands out. He's like bleeding, like his hands are bleeding. But he gets out of it. He gets out of his cuffs. He gets like this big barrel type, I don't know what it was. It was just like a big metal thing. And he starts breaking down the door. He breaks down the door. He runs up to her, and she has, I don't know what kind of weapon it is, but it's got like a sharp needle, and it's like a big long gun, but it's got like a really sharp arrow on it. And you just shoot someone, and the arrow goes like right to you, you know? So she shoots him in the shoulder, like catches him on the door, but he like walks forward, so he's clearly just like adrenaline crazy, whatever, okay? And then she like has it pointed at his throat, and he's like grinning like, you won't do it, bitch, you know, like you won't do it, or if you do, like you won't live with this and stuff. So instead she like takes it, knocks his head, kicks him in the groin, she like hits his head again, he's knocked out, and she puts him on like an inflatable device. And then the inflatable device is like tied to the boat, and then she like unties it, so he like drifts off to sea. He's alone. She sees the fire of her husband. She goes to her husband and everything. He gets on the boat, and they're like together and everything. It's starting to become like really tranquil for them. Well, the camera like pans to the other side of the boat, and the string that was cut from the inflatable device is like in the water, and there's a bloody handprint on the boat. And that's when I started filming, because I was like, shit, this movie isn't over, there's something crazy gonna happen. It's the next day. She just gets out of the water. She's like having a nice time with her husband. He's like washing her hair and everything. She's like laying on the boat just relaxing, and then he's like, I'll be right back, like I'm gonna go bring you some tea or something like that. And her hair still has like suds in it, and he's like clearly gonna come back and finish washing her hair. And so she's just laying there, and then you see this bloody hand come into the frame and start washing her hair. I was screaming. Oh my god, that was crazy to watch. And she doesn't like realize it's him at first, and she's like enjoying the hair washing, and then she reaches back to touch him, and she realizes like, this isn't my husband. He takes a towel, starts choking her and everything. And then the husband comes up. He's got a tea tray. He comes up and he gets what is it, a flare? Is that what it's called? He takes the flare and he shoots it right at the guy, like through the sail. And the image that we see is so funny, because it's like the firecracker goes into his mouth, so he's like with the firecracker, and then we see it explode out the back of his head, and he falls down into the water, so he's like finally dead. That was so cool. That was so freaking cool. I can't wait to read that book. Like hopefully the book is just as good. Maybe I'll understand like the point of the story better, of like what happened on the other boat, that the man, like he obviously created some kind of chaos and then was like, I gotta get out of here. He sees another boat and he's gonna like go create chaos over there. Maybe he's just like boat hopping, like I don't know. That was so good. Nicole Kidman, she only stars in really great movies, and I love that for her. Okay, just real quick, I looked up some trivia for A Dead Calm. Crazy news, Nicole Kidman was 19 in this movie. She was 19 at the beginning of production, and her husband, Sam Neill, was 39 years old. Sick and twisted. I hate Hollywood so much. He expressed discomfort. He was like, I don't feel comfortable with this, like being her husband. Like, she's 19 years old. I'm shook that she did this movie at 19 years old. Like, that's how you know she has always been that girl. She has always been like willing to do the most for a movie, and like I respect that so much out of her. The epitome of like a Hollywood actress, okay? I think back in the day it was Katharine Hepburn. Nowadays it's Nicole Kidman, okay? That's personally how I see it. Another thing, they said that the original ending of the movie was just when they let the bad guy, Huey, you okay, Pancake? She's okay. They let Huey like on the lifeboat, or not the lifeboat, but like the inflatable thing that she puts him on, and then he drifts away, and then she like hugs her husband, and they're like, we're okay now. And it was like too ambiguous of an ending. They were afraid the audiences were going to say it was a bad movie, so they filmed that end scene where he comes back to like, that was so cool. I'm so glad they added that in. Like, that makes the movie memorable, honestly. Really good idea on their part. I also learned that she, like, 2 months before filming started, she took like a 2-month course on how to like operate a boat, and she's the one at the end when like the storm sequence is going on, she's the one actually piloting the boat, and I think that's so cool. Love that for her so much. She's amazing. Yeah, her being 19 is wild. Like, not just for the age difference. There's a sex scene in the movie. She's very nude in it, and I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, you're 19. But like I said, she's the most Hollywood of all Hollywood. Okay, so the next one on this list is going to be To Die For from 1995. I believe it's directed by Gus Van Sant. I have seen it before. I don't remember. It's got a stellar cast though. I know Joaquin Phoenix is in it, Casey Affleck is in it, and someone else who I can't remember. Yeah, let's watch the next movie in the starring Nicole Kidman Criterion Collection. Let's go. this title sequence goes really hard. Red Foreman?
Caesar. Hey, Suze, you want one of these?
No thanks.
No? What about one of these? You're going in.
No thanks.
Real. Okay, we just finished To Die For. By we, I mean me and Pancake, okay? It was so much better than I remembered it, definitely. The cast is amazing. Meg Ryan was apparently first cast to play the role that Nicole Kidman plays in this movie, but then she dropped out. She was offered $5 million to do it. She dropped out, and Nicole Kidman wanted this role so badly that she tracked down Gus Van Sant's, Gus Van Sant. How do you say it, Gus Van Sant? She tracked down Gus Van Sant's phone number, like his personal home phone number, and called him and had a conversation with him for 40 minutes, like about the character and how she would play the character and everything. And then he called her back like 2 hours later. It was like, you have the role, and he only gave her $2 million for it. She was like willing to take $2 million for it because she wanted the role so bad. This was also the beginning, like the start of Nicole Kidman wearing a wig, which is amazing because like that's one of the iconic pieces of information about Nicole Kidman, is that this woman only wears wigs. Like she has it like in her contract not to have like her natural hair in any of her movies. Miss Girl is always wigged up, okay? This movie is actually based on a book that is based on a true story, so it's very convoluted. I would definitely say that this story is not the real story, but in the movie it's about this woman who wants to be on television so bad. Like that's like her goal in life, is to be an anchor woman, you know, someone who goes overseas to like report on happenings in different countries. She starts out as a weather woman for like a small TV channel. She marries Matt Dillon's character, and she kind of like realizes that she made a wrong choice in marrying him. Like he wants to stay local and have a family. She wants to go on to bigger and better things. She doesn't want to have a family tying her down, but everyone is like kind of in her ear about how she needs to settle down and start having a family. But she's just like, I want to be on TV, like I want to be an anchor woman, I want to go do the news, I want to bring the world to people's homes, you know, like she has a very like strict mission statement with her life. She starts doing a documentary about like teens, like teenage kids, like kids in school. So she goes to like the local high school and she introduces herself, and that's where we meet the other main characters, the teenagers in this movie. It's Joaquin Phoenix, Casey Affleck, and then the girl who I didn't recognize, but her name is Libby in the movie. They become like the subjects of her documentary, and it's just about like teenagers and like living how teenagers are today, and she's hoping to like get it sent off to some stations and everything. Like she's just like doing as much as she can to like create movies, create film, create media, and this is just like one venture of hers. Well, she realizes one day while her husband is talking to her, you know, he kind of basically calls her dream like a pipe dream. He's just kind of like, you're not gonna go anywhere with this, sweetheart. Like, I'm gonna take over my dad's restaurant. We can settle down, start a family, and like live our best life here and everything, because like you're not gonna actually like go to LA. You're not actually gonna go to different countries. Like, be realistic, kind of. And she just kind of like hones in on that, and she's like, okay, time to die. That's her new goal, is to like kill her husband now, okay? So she enters into this relationship with Joaquin Phoenix. He's like 15 years old, okay? Like the character's 15 years old. She enters into like this sexual relationship with him, and I believe that originally, like the original story that this whole story is based off of, she had him kill her husband because she still wanted to be with the teenager. In the movie, it makes it seem like she's just seducing the teenager to get him to do the dirty work, to kill her husband, so she can like not have to deal with her husband. So we never get this sense or feeling that like her relationship with the teenager is authentic. We just see it as like, it's a means to a purpose, okay? So she seduces him, she tells him like the plan and everything, and him and Casey Affleck get the gun from Libby, and they shoot her husband, okay? And then it's just like the story goes on from there. The movie is really cool because it's kind of like a mockumentary in a way. You know, we are getting Joaquin Phoenix from jail. He's like a little older now, maybe like 18 at this point or something. We get a lot of interviews from Libby. We get videos from like a TV interview that the parents did, and then we also have her, Nicole Kidman, I believe the woman's name is Susan or Susanette or something like that. We get her interview, which we find out she's interviewing herself at the end, which is just like such a perfect like wraparound. Like no one's even interviewing this girl, she's just like interviewing herself to like put it all together and make a final kind of movie out of her life and everything that happened. The very end of the movie is a little confusing. Like, I saw what I saw, but I don't believe that's the ending that was, like, I can't believe that was the ending, you know what I mean? I won't spoil it. It's definitely a great movie, really well made. It's funny, it's like satirical, kind of like a black comedy, I would say. This was Casey Affleck's feature debut, which was pretty cool, and I can't get over it. This was Nicole Kidman's first wig. I love that so much. The next movie, I'm so excited. It's going to be The Portrait of a Lady, directed by Jane Campion. This is like one of the only Jane Campion movies I haven't seen. I don't know what I was waiting for, but it's streaming on the Criterion channel and I'm so excited to get into it. I love her movies so much. This woman, she did The Piano, she did The Power of the Dog. What's her other big one I really liked? Oh, In the Cut with Meg Ryan. Oh my god, that is like my favorite Jane Campion movie of all freaking time. I love that one so much. So I'm really excited to watch a Nicole Kidman one. Christian Bale, Viggo Mortensen, and Shelley Duvall are in this movie. See, this is why I love Jane Campion. Like, she's so real for that. She's so relatable. She's so real for that. Oh my god. Is this her real hair? Yes or no? Oh my god, Shelley Duvall. Also, look at that.
But I'm hard when I'm tired.
I don't believe that. You're angry sometimes, that I can believe, but I'm sure you're never hard.
Not even when I lose my temper.
You don't lose your temper, you find it. And that must be beautiful.
Christian Bale!
My collection's very
Christian
well thought
Bale!
of.
And look, she has the cutest little black
I have a
cat.
comfortable little fortune about
An excellent result.
Listen to this, listen to this.
Your temper isn't good.
Master manipulator John Malkovich, everyone. I can't get over how fine he is in this movie, y'all. Hi, good morning. It's the next day. I just finished The Portrait of a Lady. This is, of course, directed by the one, the only Jane Campion. My mother, daughter, best friend, cousin, sister, love her to death. Okay, this is the story. It's actually based on a novel, okay? This is the story of Isabel. Isabel. She's a free spirit, okay? She has said no to many suitors, okay? Many men come a-calling, come a-knocking, and she's like, no, I don't want to be married to you. Like, why would I give up my life, like my free will, my spirit, to like be with any of you men? Like, why would I do that to myself? She becomes friends with this woman named Serena, and Serena and her, they just get along really well. She introduces her to her friend Gilbert Osmond, okay? And we find out pretty early on that Serena and Gilbert are like in cahoots, okay? They are clearly, they have some motive for introducing Isabel to this man, okay? To Gilbert Osmond, okay? Isabel becomes infatuated with Gilbert, okay? He's just not like the other guys, okay? He seduces her, he's very mischievous, he scared me this movie, okay? He's played by John Malkovich. Oh my god, he freaking terrified me. He's such a bully. He's like so bad to her. He's so manipulative to her, so like gaslighty to her. And like that is the kind of terror that like actually gets to me in movies, is like when men are really gaslighty to these women. It just like fills me with so much anxiety and so much dread. And John Malkovich, like, he freaking terrified me, okay? They're trying to not scam her out of her money, but just like have access to her money. And there's like a whole underlying plot twist as to the reason why they want her money, and I won't spoil that here because it's really worth it to watch the movie. Shelley Duvall is in it, and she's the one that actually like reveals the plot twist to Isabel, who's Nicole Kidman's character. I had a great time watching it. I really enjoyed it. Like, Jane Campion's vision is just so beautiful. She's so good at shooting women, and also her touch is so feminine and like easy on the eyes, just in the sense that like we can be watching something that on the surface isn't very scary, but like to me is horrifying, okay? Like one of the scenes when John Malkovich is like being mean to her, He's literally, oh my god, like when I explain this to you, you're gonna be like, girl, stand up, it's not that serious. He places like 3 big pillows, like top, and then he keeps picking her up and setting her down on these pillows, and she's like, you know, like pushing herself off of them. He keeps picking her up and putting them back while he's like berating her, literally terrifying me. He's just bullying her. This scene of him bullying her is, oh my god, like so reminiscent of so many men that I have encountered in my life. And just like Jane Campion, she just knows, like she knows ways to make the audience feel very uncomfortable, and she's just really freaking good at it. I don't know what else to say. John Malkovich's character has a daughter from like a previous marriage relationship, and he's kind of put it on Nicole Kidman's character to make sure that she gets married to a lord. And then like when things don't happen the way he wants it, he thinks that she's deliberately making this come to be, and she's not. She's just like letting them live their life the way that she would want to be, because she, like I said in the beginning of the movie, she's this free spirit and everything. And so she is just trying to let Pansy, who's the daughter, have her own independence, but also she's so scared of her husband. She's like, I don't want to upset him, so like what do I do in these situations? So there's just like, that's the overlying plot. Like I said, there's a really great twist in it that just kind of like folds the movie and stitches the movie together in such a real way. And oh my god, it gave me Fingersmith vibes by Sarah Waters. If you have been on this channel for a minute, you know how much I love that book, Fingersmith. It gave those vibes. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so the next movie in this collection is Eyes Wide Shut by the one, the only Stanley Kubrick. I have seen this movie once. I am gonna let you guys know right now, like, this is my channel, I'm gonna give you my opinion. I am not a Stanley Kubrick girly. I am not a fan of him as a person at all. I think his movies, while sure they're good, they're a little overrated. Okay, I think that Paths of Glory is an excellent movie, especially for the time. And I also think that Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Love the Bomb, is also an excellent movie, just excellently made. When I saw Eyes Wide Shut, I was like, okay. When I saw 2001 Space Odyssey, I was like, okay. Which I understand 2001, like for the time, I can see why it was such a big deal. So like I appreciate it for the time period it came out in, kind of the same way that I did for Dr. Strangelove. But his movies just as a whole, like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't get the hype. And I also like can't stand behind him because I don't agree with him at all, like as a person and as like a man using tactics to create movies. The Shining, that's the big one he did. Girl, think. My brain is, it's still early in the morning, okay? So I'm not super hyped for this rewatch, I won't lie. And I think, isn't it like 3 hours? Isn't Eyes Wide Shut like 3 hours? I know what he did to Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise throughout this movie to like garner the performances that he was wanting, and I think that that's really skeevy and like gross of him. So I don't respect the tactics, but I do respect her. So for that, I'm gonna say I'm a little hyped to watch this movie. Just a little bit. Sorry, I'm about to hop in the shower. I just have to give a couple more points looking at the last time I watched Eyes Wide Shut, because I was like, oh, I wonder what rating I gave it. I gave that movie 5 stars when I first watched it, which I can see being warranted. Okay, I watched it back in 2020, and at the end of my review, I said I low-key love Stanley Kubrick for ruining lives for his art. I don't stand by that anymore, okay? If anyone has been ever stalking my letterbox and you see that, let this be known now that I don't stand by that sentiment anymore. I have matured since 2020. So fine in this movie, y'all. She's so freaking fine.
Everyone was fucking. And then I was fucking other men.
Hi, good morning. Is it absolutely freezing for anybody else out there? It was 7 degrees when I woke up this morning. So I finished watching Eyes Wide Shut last night from Stanley Kubrick. This is Nicole Kidman's most popular movie on Letterboxd. I mean, like, most people have seen it, hearted it, it's on their watch list. I personally, okay, when I first watched this movie, I gave it 5 stars. And I honestly think I'm going to lower that star rating with this rewatch because while technically gorgeous, I don't think it's great. Like, the story is kind of... Let me tell you what this movie is about in case you have never seen it. So we have, oh, I don't remember their names, Alice and Jack, I think that's their name. So it's Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. They are married IRL and they are married in the film. They have a daughter in the film as well. Stanley Kubrick, he's like known for his like really extensively, really crazily long shoots, and they were actually advised to get an apartment in England while filming because someone was, I don't remember who advised them of this, but someone who like knows Stanley Kubrick or who's worked with him before, they were like, you're gonna be there for a long time. I believe they shot for 400 days. Stanley Kubrick, he loves to like redo scenes. Like, he will take so many takes. Like, for instance, I was reading, there's a shot of Tom Cruise walking through a door, and he made him do that take of walking through a door 95 times. Like, at what point does it become not just obsessive, but like, how much power can you throw around? That's the vibe I get from Stanley Kubrick, because simply there were not 95 takes needed of him walking through a door. Like, I'm sure within the first 30 he would have had a really great one, and even 30, that's like pushing it, brother. Okay, anyway, so this is a story of Alice and Jack, and they have a really good conversation early on in the movie about how, where Jack believes that women don't have it within them to not be faithful. He, you know, he's a doctor, he sees a lot of naked women, a lot of women come up to him, a lot of women hit on him. And whenever he sees a man possibly talking or hitting on her, he just like in his mind knows that she would never cheat on him. Like, he knows that he has all these opportunities, but he believes that inherently women can't not be loyal. Like, it's just not within them to do that to their man or to do that to themselves, okay? She tells him about a time when they were on a vacation, and she imagines this guy from the Navy, like this naval captain who was also like on their vacation. She sees him and she talks about how she fantasized about leaving everything, leaving her husband, leaving her daughter, leaving her life to just have sex with this man, just to like be with this man for one night. And that like really eats away at him the whole movie. He keeps imagining over and over his wife cheating on a man, or cheating on him with a man, and that's like never been a thought that he's had. So he finally feels that sick like gut feeling that many people, I know I felt it before, where you think about like the love of your life, your partner cheating on you, or maybe your partner has cheated on you, and you just like have those images playing over and over in your mind. And that's like what he's experiencing throughout this film, is like he is actually thinking of like what it would be like, what it would mean for his wife to cheat on him. And it's like so funny how ignorant he is in these moments, or like in the moments before, or like the ignorance that you are understanding he had before these moments, where he's like never had those thoughts. Those thoughts can creep in, and it's so like scary, like it makes you sick to your stomach to think about them. And he does a really good job of portraying that just like sickness that he feels. So one night he gets a call, he's a doctor, remember, and one of his patients has died. He goes to see the patient, and the patient's daughter hits on him. She kisses him, she's like, please stay with me, please don't leave. And then her husband shows up and everything. He goes about his night, and he has like so many opportunities to cheat on his wife. Like, a prostitute comes up to him, invites him up to her house, up to her apartment. He's about to hook up with her, but then his wife calls and she's like, hey babe, when are you coming home? I think I'm gonna head off to bed, like you're out really late, blah blah blah. He meets up with an old friend who gives him access to an underground sex club in New York. This is all set in New York City, and that's like where, like, you know, if you know anything about Eyes Wide Shut, you know about the big sex club scene that is in the movie. All it is just naked women parading around with men, and then you see men having sex with them in many positions in many rooms, and many people are watching, and it's just like it's very objectifying. Like, you know, who saw this coming? Who wouldn't have thought? He has women at his side. Many women come up to talk to him, and then also many women come up to warn him and are like, you don't belong here, like get out of here. He meets with like the master of the sex party. I don't know who he is, Red Cloak, and he's just kind of like, you don't belong here, like it's time for you to go, but first like take off all your clothes and all this stuff. Like, he's about to get like I don't know, hurt in some way. But then the girl who he was walking with, who warns him, you need to leave, she's like, I will take the punishment and everything. Later on, you know, the movie goes on. Like, it's just like a whole smorgasbord of like one night of all of him just like making mistake after mistake, in the sense of like he's putting himself and allowing himself to be in these positions where he could cheat on his wife, and the whole time he's having these visions of his wife cheating on him. We go about the movie. The man who had told him about the club is like kind of like banged up. He's made to leave the city. The woman who had warned him at the club and who saved him from having to take his clothes off in front of everyone, she winds up dead. He knew who she was previous, and he's just like believing that like this club is like having everything to do with all of these people going missing and getting hurt and all this stuff. So it's just like a big mystery of like, are they really, are they not? Also, I need to like come clean to my wife. And like honestly, you guys, I will be so for real, this movie is just kind of boring. Like, the first time I watched it, it was exciting because I'd never seen the movie before. I knew it to be this great movie. It's Stanley Kubrick's final movie. He worked on it for so many years. Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise like basically sacrificed their marriage to be in this movie. He used many tactics on them to feel unsafe with each other and untrusting of each other because he wanted that to come through in the film. I think for all of that, like all of this work that was put into it, it's like, oh, that's what came out of all of that. Like, this is the story that came out of all of that. And I understand that he died before the movie was even completely finished with production. So maybe there was more to the story that he planned on implying or showing to us. I think that the end of the movie is really, really great. I really love when he comes in and she's sleeping, and then, I won't spoil it, but like from that point when he comes in and she's sleeping next to something, and then from that point on to the end, I think that's like the strongest and the best part of the movie. She obviously is really, really great. There's so many great moments of her like looking at him and studying him. The conversation that they're having when she talks about how she wanted to cheat on him at one point is good. I think that the story is not as good as everyone chalks it up to be. I do think that the story is rather boring, but I think that the production and I think that the performances are very good. Like those are the reasons why I have to give this movie 4 stars, and I don't think anything less would be appropriate because of how well made the movie is. And I really do admire Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise for the performances that they give in this movie. It's set during Christmas, and I was reading this thing on Wikipedia about how there are so many Christmas trees in so many shots, and there really are. Like, it's the background of this movie is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I keep talking about the production, like the production design was just so good in this movie. The music is really good as well. I was reading this thing about how it's so interesting that it was set during Christmas time, because Christmas time holds a lot of space for expectations, but often the reality is not as good as your expectations. And I think that that is very true for the story, with like cheating and infidelity and not feeling trustworthy and not trusting like marriage and partnership and situation, like the situation of the whole movie as a whole, of him like being in these situations where he could be cheating on his wife, the whole time being sick to his stomach thinking about his wife cheating on him. Like, it's not as good as you're thinking it could be. I don't know, I feel like I'm just rambling. Nicole Kidman, amazing job. Like, I'm watching this movie for you, I'm watching this collection for you. I don't think there's anything else I have to say about it. Like, there's nothing else to report. It's just, it is what it is. I've watched it a second time. I could go my whole life never watching it again and I'd be fine. The next movie that I have on this collection to watch is going to be The Hours. This stars the trifecta of Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep, and Julianne Moore. I'm excited to rewatch this one. I do believe that this is the movie, the performance that gave Nicole Kidman her first Oscar. Is it her only Oscar? It might be her only Oscar, but she has an Oscar for this performance, and I'm really excited to rewatch it. I think I gave it 3.5 when I first watched it. It wasn't like the most amazing story I've ever seen, but I would love if this rewatch made me bump up my letter grade a little bit, especially since I am bumping down my star rating for Eyes Wide Shut. It'd be cool if I could bump up another star rating. I would love if you would leave in the comments your thoughts on Eyes Wide Shut. Like, if you really think that this is like such an amazing movie, 5 out of 5 stars, like, why is it so great? Because I personally don't get it. Like I said, the first time I watched it, it was like, wow, I finally saw this movie. I'm excited to see this movie. I think it's just I had no expectations, and now that I know the story, to like watch the story again, it's just like I don't get it. Like, I don't appreciate it the way that a lot of people do appreciate it. So if you really, really love Eyes Wide Shut, I would love to know why. Like, I really do want to understand that. So leave that in the comments below, and I'm gonna go watch The Hours, and I'll come back to you with another update. I don't know if I drove this point home well enough in like the last clip, but I just had like one more thought about Eyes Wide Shut. I think like my personal thinking is the reason why this movie is so well liked, well beloved, like one of the greatest movies of all time, is because of how explicit it is. I could totally see like young adults watching this for the first time in 1999 and it just being like such a shocking movie, like such a shock factor movie, because of the, not just the nudity, the explicit nature of the acts that are happening. Like, it is an underground sex club in New York City. Like, how many movies were made about that before this movie? You know what I mean? Like, especially mainstream movies, like I could totally see it just being like a really shocking movie. And like sometimes when you watch a really shocking movie, it can become your favorite movie. Like, I've seen many shocking movies in theaters and just been like, wow, that was amazing. Like, seeing that in theaters for the first time, wow. But then maybe like in 20-30 years, if someone my age were to watch that movie, you know, at home streaming on the newest streaming service, they'd be like, oh, like this is whatever, like I've seen this a million times already. So I could totally see that being a reason why people like it so much. I do really think that the motif of Christmas is really smart and really well done in this movie, because this movie is about infidelity, not being true, not being honest, and like the rush that having an affair can be. Just like Christmas can be the same. There is a lot of expectation, but you often find yourself disappointed in the reality of what it actually is. Like, there's high expectations for Christmas, but then like sometimes you're disappointed at Christmas. Sometimes it's not all that you chalked it up to be in your head, same as what an affair could be. Transformation for this movie is actually so crazy. Like, sometimes you can see Nicole Kidman in that, and a lot of times you really, really can't. Also, I had to move to my computer because the TV stopped working. I don't know why. Like, how is that Nicole Kidman? Do you see her in this clip? How is that her right there? This makeup artist, amazing, deserves all the flowers.
Mrs. Dalloway said she'd buy the flowers. Mrs. Dalloway said she would buy the flowers herself.
Sally, I think I'll buy the flowers myself. What?
Okay, no, this is starting to piss me off. Criterion, get your shit together, because I'm so tired of not finishing a movie in one setting and then going to the website like the next day, even just hours later, and when I click play, it's like, you know, continue watching, and I click play, it starts the movie over. I don't know where I was. I don't know where I was in this movie. I don't know how far along I was. Like, I don't keep track of things like that. Stop making the movie start all the way over Criterion. I'm so serious. You have to please stop doing that. You are my favorite streaming site, and this is like really, really aggravating. Like, please remember where we left off, okay? You can do it. I know you can. Please, girl.
If I were thinking clearly, Leonard, I would tell you that I wrestle alone in the dark, in the deep dark, and that only I can know. Only I can understand my own condition. You live with the threat, you tell me. You live with the threat of my extinction. Leonard, I live with it too.
Okay, so I just finished watching The Hours. This movie's so good, you guys. I really, really enjoyed it. So Nicole Kidman, so basically the story is, I have my fan or my heater on, by the way, so if you can hear that, like, that's what that is. I'm sorry. So this is the story of three women throughout 3 different decades, lifespans. Okay, we have Virginia Woolf, played by Nicole Kidman, and her prosthetic nose. We have Julianne Moore playing a woman in like the 60s, and then we have Meryl Streep playing like a more modern woman. I think her time era is set in 2001, actually, so like 25 years ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. Anyway, they are all connected in some way, and I won't spoil what that connection is. I honestly thought the connection was rather silly between some of them. Like, obviously Virginia Woolf, like, she is this great poet. She wrote like one novel I believe is what was being alluded to in the film. I've never read her work. I know I'm uneducated, okay, I'm sorry. But the other two women are like aware of Virginia Woolf's work, and Julianne Moore's character especially is actually reading her novel Mrs. Holloway, which is the novel that Virginia Woolf is working on in her time period, okay, in her part of the film. Interestingly, the novel Mrs. Holloway was actually called The Hours when Virginia Woolf was working on it, so little, you know, inside there, because the movie's called The Hours. I think that the whole concept of The Hours is really cool, because one of the characters, who isn't one of the main three characters, talks about how kind of the suffering of life, like you have these moments to like get to, and like sure, maybe they're nice moments or like happy moments or things that you're excited to celebrate, but then you have to worry about the hours after that moment to the next moment, you know what I mean? And two of the women in the story are definitely dealing with like an oppressive nature, oppressive lifestyle, a life that they don't want to be living, that they're kind of feeling like they're being forced to be living. So the whole concept of like the hours in that aspect is really interesting. Okay, so I looked at the IMDb trivia for this movie, have some cool notes. So this movie was not able to be nominated for best makeup and hairstyling because her nose was digitally touched up to make it look like super seamless, which is crazy because like we have some nominees being nominated for Oscars this year that had AI in their movies to help with performances, and those performances got nominated, which like I understand like the AI-ness for those performances did not encapsulate the whole performance, whereas like, you know, the nose was a big prosthetic that got digitally altered. But I thought that was like rather interesting to read about. Nicole Kidman wore her fake nose to evade paparazzi during and after this movie because she was going through a really public divorce with Tom Cruise, and the paparazzi did not recognize her with this nose, which like fair, like no one can tell that's her, okay? That literally doesn't look anything like Nicole Kidman. It's crazy how well she was able to hide behind that nose with these prosthetics. Oh, Nicole Kidman has the least amount of screen time in this movie between the three actresses, and yet she was the one who was deemed to be nominated for Best Actress. Julianne Moore got a Best Supporting Actress nom, and I didn't see that Meryl Streep got a Supporting Female Actress nom, but she has the least amount of screen time and she got the Best Actress. She won for Best Actress as well. This is her only Oscar win? I didn't fact check that. I'll put down below if I'm wrong about that, but this is her Oscar win as Virginia Woolf in The Hours. And in fact, throughout award season when this movie came out, Meryl Streep received 17 nominations, Julianne Moore received 18 nominations, and Nicole Kidman received 25 nominations, and she won 8 of those nominations. And they also all three shared the Silver Berlin Bear for Best Actress award, which is pretty cool. It said it was the first time that 3 people have ever, you know, been deemed to share this award. And then last little tidbit, Nicole Kidman is left-handed. Same girl, me too, girl, me too. And she had to learn how to write right-handed for this because Virginia Woolf is right-handed. Oh my god, I'm so excited. The next movie I have to watch is Birth. I have not seen this movie. I believe it's an A24 movie. All I know is that like her husband dies and then she meets a child who she believes is the reincarnate of her husband, and that concept sounds so cool to me. I'm so excited to watch this movie. She also has a pixie cut in it, which I think is gonna be so cute. Yeah, I'm really excited to watch Birth. I'm gonna literally start watching it right now. This pixie cut. Oh, she's so cute. Hi, it is the next day. Look at what came in my Sundance Film Festival 2025 mug. I'm so excited. I am attending Sundance again this year, second year in my life attending. I'm attending online, but it's still like so exciting, and I'm gonna have a video out for you guys about that. But that's not what this is about. Okay, this clip is because I finished watching Birth from Jonathan Glazer. I thought this was an A24 film. I think I thought that because like his last 2 films were A24, and so I just like made that assumption. I don't know why. So this this is about, forgive me, you know, I don't know anyone's names, Nicole Kidman's character, okay, her husband has died, and I know her husband's name is Sean because it's like 10 years later, she's like engaged to a new man, she's like living like a good life, like she's like happy, you know, going about life and everything. This kid named Sean comes up, like he shows up at her apartment and he's like, it's me, it's Sean, it's your husband. I don't want you to marry this man. Don't marry this man because like I'm here for you. I've come for you, you know? And she's like, you're a little boy, like you're 10 years old. You're not my husband. What are you talking about? This, what kind of sick joke is this? She definitely like sees it as a joke at first, but he's not even just persistent about it. He's just like very simply kind of always there. And he like sends her a note, says like, do not marry him. And it's like in like childhood handwriting, you know what I mean? She finally starts to somewhat believe him, or she kind of passes it off to her friends and family as like, I'm just going to entertain this to like catch him in a lie. But we can tell as the character that she is seeing this more and more, like she is believing him more and more as time goes on. So they start to quiz the boy. He knows a lot of things about Sean. He knows things that like no one would have been able to look up or ask other people about. He knows things about their relationship. It was so good. Like, first of all, it was just beautifully made, like really, really beautiful score. I loved the production design as well. They live in like these really rich Manhattan apartments. And I just think that it looked just like really beautiful, like very clean and like simple. The music was really beautiful, as I said. I won't get into like what happens in the end because I really think you should watch it. I think it was like a really strong performance from everyone. And the little boy, like I fell in love with him too. Like I don't blame her for keeping on entertaining him because he was like honestly just really adorable, and he was so like strong in his performance as well. Strong as Sean, like strong as this kid, like both. He just did a really good job, and she of course amazing. Like I love her to death. That's obviously why I'm doing this. So that was definitely a highlight in this whole collection, I would say. But I'm so excited, okay, because the next movie, which okay, so Birth came out in 2004. She had another movie that came out in 2004 that is also in this collection. It is the Stepford Wives. I have seen this movie before and I really, really liked it. I think I only gave it like a 3.5 star, however, so I am looking to bump up that rating with this rewatch. Hopefully I will enjoy it more than I did the first time. I think about it a lot. I think back to it a lot. I think it's a really captivating and interesting story, and a story that has been done many times, like Don't Worry Darling from Olivia Wilde with Florence Pugh and Harry Styles. Okay, if you remember that whole fiasco, that movie is very reminiscent of the Stepford Wives. So if you like that or you enjoy that kind of concept, definitely watch the Stepford Wives, I would say. It has Matthew Broderick in it. I don't know if I already said that. It's kind of like a comedy, like a satire for this serious subject, and I'm just excited to rewatch it because I don't remember every little bit of it. I'll catch you back with another update after I watch the Stepford Wives.
Because we are working on a series of exercises which I've personally invented based on simple household tasks. I call my program Clairobics because her name is Claire.
First of all, we're in the country now, so no more black.
No more black? Are you insane?
You heard me. Only high-powered, neurotic, castrating Manhattan career bitches wear black. Is that what you want to be?
Ever since I was a little girl.
A better executive? You're even better sex. Don't deny it.
I wasn't going to.
Okay, I finished watching, oh shit, I already forgot this. It's the Stepford Wives, okay? Love that movie to death. It is so funny. Okay, it's directed by Frank Oz, who directed Little Shop of Horrors, and then he also directed one of the funniest movies of all time with Bill Murray called What About Bob. That movie went multi-platinum in my household as a child. Okay, I love that movie so much, and the Stepford Wives is just as funny. Like I could have filmed so many more clips of this. I feel like every 5 seconds I was giggling or smiling just a little bit at least, if not like full out laughing, but then I would like have ended up filming the whole movie for you, so you should just go watch the Stepford Wives if you haven't seen it. Okay, so it's the story of Nicole Kidman. She's like a TV executive. She's like a badass bitch, boss ass bitch, okay, and her husband is like fine with the life that she holds. You know, he's like a VP of the company that she works at, but she's just like a higher executive. She makes like, he mentions at one point he makes 6 figures more than he does, so I'm like, damn, like how much money was she making? but she actually ends up getting fired from her job, and she kind of has like a mental breakdown after that. He decides to move them to Stepford, which a friend of theirs has told him about, and everything in Stepford is just like very different. Okay, it's very idyllic, you could say. And what I mean by that is that the houses are immaculate, pristine, there's like not a crumb in sight. Okay, the women are gorgeous, made up, they look good, they take care of themselves. There's never like anything out of place for these men. Okay, like the men have their men's society that they can go to, their men's association they can go to, they run the household. Okay, like there's no such thing as a woman running the household in this idyllic suburb area, okay, of Stepford. The women dress nice, they look nice, they're not slobby, they cater to their children, they never say no to their husbands, like they are just like the perfect wives, okay? And they move there. Nicole Kidman is like, what is up with all these girlies? Like, why are they acting so weird? Like, this is very weird and fake, and you guys are acting like little girls, kind of. She makes 2 friends with 2 other new people who are new to the area, and slowly, one by one, she sees how everyone is starting to change around her. They start to uncover the secrets of Stepford and like what's actually going on. We see a lot of moments with the men where we see how like the women or the mothers, the wives of these men are different, very robotic, very scheduled, never out of line. Like we just see both sides, because we see, you know, the husband Matthew Broderick's part in Stepford, and then we also see the wife Nicole Kidman's part in Stepford as well. The ending is really fun. I think it's just a good movie. It's so funny, like literally the script is so good. I would have adored to be part of this movie in its heyday. Okay, like it would have been so much fun to film or be part of this movie, be in this movie, whatever. Nicole Kidman, of course, is great. She shows that she can do like really good comedy in this movie as well. One of my favorite performances from Nicole Kidman is actually in Paddington. She plays the bad guy in the first Paddington movie, and I saw a lot of her in this movie, The Stepford Wives, because she's just comical, like silly, goofy, haha, funny girl. I don't know how many other comedies she did before The Stepford Wives. I don't know her filmography like that, unfortunately. I feel like she mostly does a lot of drama, maybe like romance movies, kind of, but you know, like drama thriller tends to be more her MO. And so to see her in this comedy was like so fun and so refreshing. You know, it reminded me of Paddington, reminded me of how good she is in Paddington, and she just like is so diverse. Like she can do anything. She can do kids movies, she can do dramas, thrillers, horror. Like she's so good, and she is just like amazing at everything. Like she's just definitely one of the actresses of all time. Okay, so the next movie I have to watch is Margot at the Wedding. This is from 2000, oh shoot, I don't remember, I want to say 2007. If that's wrong, I'll put that down below if I'm incorrect on that, but I have never seen this one. Okay, so we have this one, and then we have the Paperboy from 2012, I want to say. Sorry, I don't have my laptop in here with me with all of the notes that I had. So those are the final 2 movies, and I've seen the Paperboy before. Super memorable. Okay, if you've seen the Paperboy, you know. Margot at the Wedding, though, I have no idea. Like I don't know a single thing about it. Never even heard of it until this challenge, until this Criterion collection drops. So I'm really excited to get into it. I'm gonna go watch it and catch you back once I've seen it. Okay, so I finished Margot at the Wedding, and I'm gonna keep this short and sweet and simple because I freaking hated it. I hated it so much, and it really solidified that I dislike Noah Baumbach. I don't like his writing. I think, like, you know, as for making a movie, direction, like whatever, but his actors are really the best part of his movies. Like I just really can't stand his writing. I don't appreciate or necessarily really like anything he's ever made. It's all been like just above mid or very mid. Okay, so Margot at the Wedding, it is about Nicole Kidman. She's Margot, and she's going to visit her sister, who's Jennifer Jason Leigh. Jennifer Jason Leigh's character has inherited their mother's house. They're like sisters, but they don't get along. Like they are fighting constantly throughout the movie. Her sister's getting married to Jack Black, and there's like an underlying secret about Jack Black that we have to learn about. It's all like really just terrible. Like I feel like we're just watching people do terrible things the whole movie, and none of it is ever like redeeming, or like There's never even anything at the end. Like, the end is super anticlimactic and just stupid in my opinion. Like, I can't get over it. I can't get over it. The kids are like seeming to be tortured every moment of the movie because she's got a kid. Jennifer Jason Leigh has a kid. Nicole Kidman is just kind of like a terrible person in this movie. Like, she makes fun of her son, she makes fun of her sister, she talks bad about everyone to everyone. Like, she's just being like a bad person. Because I don't mind movies about bad people. Like, we just recently saw the movie Talk to Me in IMAX. Like, it was like a re-release, and it was so good because, and I love that movie because the main character is like not a nice person. Like, she does bad things, she like betrays her best friend, she talks bad about people, but we're able to see like this humanity side of her where like she actually does care about people, or she actually is really terrified of bad things that are happening. Whereas Margot, like, she just has like blinders on to everything that she's doing. She's just constantly talking shit, doing bad things, and then like there's never any conversation, any repercussion, and even when there is a conversation, she just like throws it back on them. And it's so clear that Noah Baumbach is trying to like have us self-diagnose these characters, like, oh, what could really be wrong with her? Like, why do you think she's acting this way? But then there's never any conversation about it, so it's just like all in our head. I don't know. I think this movie was really trash, just really annoying. She goes to her sister's wedding, there's like all this garbage going on, there's neighbors fighting, there's like neighborhood kids coming over to bully other kids. Like, it just, at no moment in this movie did you feel like any ounce of peace. Like, but then at the same time, it's not like a Safdie Brothers movie where there is no moment of peace. It's high adrenaline, high stakes, like you're really excited to keep watching this movie. This one was just like dreadful and boring, and like I said, no ounce of peace. I really don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't think it deserves any more time than the 2 minutes I've been talking about it. So we are going to go into the final movie in this Criterion collection, The Paperboy from 2012. Her co-star is Zac Efron. Very excited to rewatch this one. When I first watched it, I actually gave it a 1.5 star because I thought that it was very confusing and stupid. And I do remember there is an assault scene in this movie that is like very gratuitous, very unnecessary. It holds nothing to the character from what I remember. Like, there's no actual point in it. And I do hate in movies when these kind of scenes are there and the female characters are supposed to just like pick themselves back up and like just be normal. Like, they don't even cry about it, they don't even like get revenge about it. Like, there's nothing. It just literally seems like a scene that was dropped in because the director wanted to create a scene like that. So that bit of the movie I'm not excited for. I am excited to rewatch it as a whole though, to see if I like it any better, because I have not stopped thinking about it since I first watched it several years ago. So I wonder if my rating will rise with it. I do think that it is Nicole Kidman's sluttiest and silliest movie, and I really respect her for putting herself all the way out there for her films. Like, that's what I'm talking about when I say she is the Hollywood female actress of all time. She'll do anything for a role, and I really respect her grind and her tenacity in her movies. So I am very excited to rewatch this one and rewatch her character as a whole. Sorry I don't have any clips for you from Margot at the Wedding. It was just literally that boring. Like, there was nothing that stood out to me that I could have clipped and been like, oh, this would be fun to put in my little YouTube video. No, there was literally nothing. Shakalaka. Oh my god, I forgot Matthew McConaughey was in this. I love her wig so much in this one. So Florida, so redneck, so trashy, so classy.
Office in the garage.
Said, I will kick your ass. Move it. If anyone's gonna piss on him, it's gonna be me. He don't like strangers peeing on him.
Hey y'all, okay, final day of filming this. I finished watching The Paperboy a day or two ago, I will be honest. I have needed to sit with this movie, and I needed to sit with it the first time I watched it as well, because it is quite possibly the most divisive movie for me of all time. Like, I cannot sit here and say this movie's great, and then I also can't sit here and say this movie's awful. It's so difficult. Like, it's so difficult to talk about this movie. Or at least like my real opinions on it, because it's so hard for me to actually formulate what I'm thinking about this movie, because I go both sides of the spectrum. Okay, I'm like swinging back and forth on how I feel about this movie. The Libra in me like really jumps out when I watch this movie and I hate it. Okay, so this is the movie of, here's the other thing, like this movie, I don't even know how to tell you the story of this movie. It would take the hour and 45 minutes that this movie is to tell you the story of this movie. So it starts off like a retelling, like almost like a documentary. They are speaking to this Black woman who worked for this family. It's like, oh God, I don't even know what time period. It's set in Florida, okay? And she is recounting the story of the paperboy. Okay, the paperboy is Zac Efron. Zac Efron was asked to be a driver for some people who were coming into town to tell the story and to work to get this guy off of the death penalty. Okay, so there's this man played by Joan Cusack, who, the performances in this movie are astounding. Everyone here gives an Oscar-worthy performance. It is so good, so well acted. So Joan Cusack plays this bad guy. He's an awful, awful man. He committed this terrible crime, and he has been sentenced to be like sentenced to death. Like, he's gonna get the electric chair, right? And his attorneys are trying to show and tell how his crime is not worth the death penalty, that there were problems with his case, that his attorney didn't do the best that he could have done to get him off and everything, so like he doesn't deserve the death penalty. They're trying to just like reverse it, right? Reverse the conviction. Okay, and then there's another person who's coming to the town to tell the story. Like, he's a newspaper writer and he's coming to tell the story and everything. There's also a woman coming from Alabama who has been corresponding with this bad guy. I can't remember his name, I'm so sorry. Who's been corresponding with Joan Cusack. This is Nicole Kidman's character. She's from Alabama. She comes to Florida to like see him in jail. She's writing letters to him. She's gonna like be there if he gets out of jail, right? Like, that's her whole point in being there. And Zac Efron has been asked to like drive these people around. Okay, he's called the paperboy. He's behind the scenes with everything. He goes on every little side mission that they go on. Okay, like, he's just with this crew of people, of the attorney, the newspaper guy, and the girlfriend. Okay, so they go to see Joan Cusack. He is a monster, like a literally just a terrible, terrible person. We honestly just go from there. Like, it is the trashiest movie I've ever seen. And I mean that in a good way and in a bad way. Okay, like, we see what it's like to be a swamp person. Like, we see what delinquency looks like within swamp people. We see what poverty looks like in Florida. We see how education is sparse in Florida, and to that point, how that hurts people along the way with not being educated. I feel like every character kind of has like a secret as well. Matthew McConaughey's character, he has like this secret that he's holding that ends up getting him in really bad trouble, that kind of like fucks him up for the rest of the movie. The movie is extremely violent, like really violent. There is a lot of sexual violence, there is physical violence, there's emotional, verbal violence. Like, there's just, it's a violent movie, okay? It's set in Florida. It's disgusting in many parts, in many places. I literally can't like tell you this story without telling you the whole story, because it's just, there's so many characters at play. The editing is insane. Like, I don't know what the editor was thinking when he or she chopped this movie up, because it's not just jumbled, it's all over the place, but it also makes so much sense. Like, it's so hard, because on one hand, I totally respect it because the editing is put together in a way to where we as the audience have to infer what is actually going on. Like, we have to figure it out, because sometimes the dialogue isn't said there and you just have to like look at how people are looking at each other. You also have to have some kind of like understanding of how people in the South work and navigate, especially like if someone's on their property or if someone doesn't like the look of someone else. Like, there is just much to confer based just on looks. There is much to navigate just based on the looks that people give each other. And the editing brings that to life really well, but then also it's so jumbled and like makes you a little sick to watch. There's, oh my God, there's so much that happens in this movie, you guys. Like, I want to recommend it to people, and I have been recommending it to people because it's such a crazy movie, but I'm gonna like stop doing that because it is actually like kind of a triggering movie. Like there's a lot of racism, there's a lot of misogyny, there's a lot of violence. Like it can be a very triggering movie. When Joan Cusack gets out of jail and goes to see Nicole Kidman, literally scariest moment of my life watching that scene. There's an infamous scene, I'll tell you what happens right now because I know you're all wondering, where Zac Efron, because he's in love, his character is in love with Nicole Kidman. Her name is Charlotte Bless. Love that name. He's in love with her, but she's just like, you're my best friend, like I'm never gonna have sex with you because it would just ruin our friendship and ruin our dynamic and everything, so like it's never gonna happen. And he's all sad, so he walks into the ocean and then he gets stung really bad by a jellyfish. He's stung all over his face, all over his chest, all over his genitals, just like he is like stung up, and he's like laying on the beach, he's sick and everything, and Nicole Kidman, her character, has to pee on him because that is the only way to combat a jellyfish sting, I guess. She has been asked many times like how they did that scene, like how did you do that scene, like tell us the mechanics of how you got this pee on him, and she's like, how else do you pee on someone? And I love her for that because she's Nicole Kidman, like she's so authentic, she's so real, she is like never afraid to put herself in positions and to be this actress who will do what it takes for a film to be good. And I love that for her. Like I love her so much for that. I think she's just a wonderful actress. I was reading some trivia on this. This is the only movie that she's ever gone method, where she stayed in character the whole time before, during, and after filming. She did her own makeup for this movie. The budget was really low for it and they could not afford a makeup artist, so she did her own hair and makeup, which is awesome. She looked amazing, so trailer park trash, but also like princessy and like cute and pretty, and I loved it. Okay, I went back to fact check. She did not do her own hair in this movie. She just did her own makeup. There was not money for a makeup assistant. Another thing, she was asked to say the N-word by the director and she refused. She was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be doing that shit. And so she didn't. I would not be surprised if that is the only time she's ever said no to a director in a movie. Like the things that she does in movies are insane and like out there, and things that other actresses would never do, and I would not be surprised if not saying the N-word is the only thing she's ever said no to. And then the scene between her and John Cusack when he gets out of jail was the first scene that she filmed, like the first scene she filmed in the movie, which is crazy to think about. Her talent, her range, her authenticity, she's amazing. Okay, I think that is all that I have to say about Nicole Kidman. I could talk about her for ages. Oh, last thing, a week after she finished filming The Paperboy, she went to go film Stoker from Park Chan-wook, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. 5 stars across the board. I love and adore that movie, and she's so good in that movie. Okay, yeah, I don't think there's anything else I have to say. I love Nicole Kidman to death. I'm so happy that the Criterion channel added this collection because it was so fun to watch some movies of hers that I'd never seen. It was really awesome to revisit movies that I have seen of hers because she deserves to be rewatched. Her performances are eventful. I can't stress enough how good of an actress I think that she is. I've said it multiple times throughout this video. So I really hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your favorite Nicole Kidman movie. For sure, I would love to know what your favorite one is so we can talk about her some more. Thanks again for clicking on and hopefully enjoying another edition of Watch a Criterion Collection with me. I have a playlist on my channel of all of the other Criterion collections that I've watched, so be sure to check that out if you have not. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate your support so much. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing so you don't miss any videos in the future. If you like this video, give it a like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!